With the amazing month of March coming to an end, we are officially going to be entering the month of the draft. Now, in the month of March, it wasn't a great month for some you NFL fans out there, Seattle Seahawks and New Orleans Saints. Now, other months it was great for, like the Raiders and also the Denver Broncos. Now, the month of April should be a lot better, as this is the month where typically everybody gets better. And it's going to be interesting to watch unfold. And this stuff is so unpredictable, but we're going to be making our predictions. Why? Because it's fun. It's great. You guys love it and gets a lot of views. So we're going to go ahead and do our NFL 2022 mock draft with trades because there's going to be trades. So why not do it with trades? Okay, so if we start our draft on over here, we have the Jacksonville Jaguars who will be picking with the first overall pick. Once again, we're going to go ahead and do Aiden Hutchinson. I'm not going to totally explain why I'm going to do Aiden Hutchinson over the other defensive ends. I've watched him play the most in college, and from what I've seen, he's the best. I mean, I might not be the smartest when it comes to NFL draft prospects, but it doesn't take a whole lot to real. You know who else deserves to be drafted this high? That is going to go right to Malik Willis. Okay, I've already talked about this a lot. If you want to check, I've talked about Malik Willis being a can't miss prospect. I understand he might not live up to his second overall draft pick, and he has a lot of red flags that might make him fail in the NFL. You can say that about every quarterback prospect to ever exist. There is a high chance that they are going to fail, but the upside with Malik Willis is there. His ceiling is very high, and it would be dumb for the Lions to miss on him, in my personal opinion. Now, obviously, he's not going to start his rookie season. He'll sit behind Jared Goff. Jared Goff will be traded. If they do draft Malik Willis, Jared Goff will be traded or cut after the season because that contract is terrible. Now, Houston is on the clock, and you can see right here needs every position. We're going to go with who I believe is the best player available. We're going to head on over to our edge rushers, and we're going to go ahead and take Trayvon Walker with this draft pick. Oh, Trayvon Walker over Kayvon Thibodeau? Yeah, Trayvon Walker over Kayvon Thibodeau 10 times out of 10. Next up, I'm sorry, you guys. I'm sorry for making you guys mad. These are my personal opinions. I don't mean to state them like they're facts. But New York Jets are on the clock, and they're going to go ahead and also take an edge rusher here. This is a great edge rushing class, and you can get players in the second round, like maybe Boye Mafe and David Ojabo do fall to the second round because of their injuries and their size. You can find some of these players in the second round, but I just don't know why the Jets would even consider passing on Kayvon Thibodeau, as I believe he's the best player on the board in the at the fourth pick. So right now you can see here we have three edge rushers being drafted in Malik Willis going to Detroit Lions. I personally believe, from what I've seen, Malik Willis is the best quarterback in this draft class, even though he's coming from a small school in Liberty. I do believe that you cannot overlook him and you cannot pass on him. And it would be such a Detroit Lions move to pass on him because Detroit Lions are in a rebuilding phase like they've been since everybody who's watching this our entire lifetime. I say they've been in a rebuilding phase my entire life. They've been in a rebuilding phase your entire life, no matter what age you are, because they've never been a contender ever. And now they're finally needing a quarterback again. And this is a perfect spot to take a quarterback at the second overall pick. So now the New York Giants are on the clock with the fifth overall draft pick. Giants need just about everything. Oh, who do we give the Giants to? We're going to actually give them Evan Neal. I understand they might not need an offensive tackle here. Andrew Thomas will obviously start at left tackle for them. Evan Neal's a can't miss prospect. He's an immediate starter somewhere on the offensive line. If you don't want to start him at left tackle and you want to have Andrew Thomas, fine. Start him anywhere else on the offensive line. The man is a beast, and he's a player you don't just want to let go. Obviously, they need interior offensive line better or more. You can kick an Evan Neal at left guard. Fine. Doesn't matter. Kick him at left guard. He doesn't need to play left tackle for your team. I know they drafted Andrew Thomas in 2020 at the fifth pick too, I believe. So he should stay there. And Andrew Thomas has been good for me. He has suffered with some injuries, and maybe we can see Evan Neal step in for there. Panthers are now on the clock with the sixth overall draft pick. I believe this is. Yep. Sixth overall draft pick here. And the Panthers are in an interesting situation. They desperately need a quarterback here after, I mean, who's their starting quarterback right now? Sam Darnold. So they obviously need a starting quarterback here. And if you head on over to our quarterbacks, yeah, nobody do you want to take? Sam Howell, a Desmond Ritter, I think he's going to have a great college career. Is he worth the sixth overall draft pick? Not in my opinion. I believe Matt Corral could also have a great career. Still not worth the sixth overall draft pick. A lot of people talk about Kenny Pickett being drafted here. Carson Strong's another name to mention. We're actually not going to have them take a quarterback here, and they're actually just going to stick with Sam Darnold and hope they can load up later. We're just going to go ahead and take the best, most well-rounded prospect, and that's Kyle Hamilton. Kyle Hamilton, I've talked about him not really being totally worth the top 7 draft pick. Yeah, I know, hot take. just he's a safety. He doesn't make as much of an impact as other positions would. But with that being said, the man's going to work in the NFL. He's going to have a great college career. There's no question about that. The guy is going to work. But with that being said, is he going to make as much an impact as maybe a corner, edge rusher, tackle would? Probably not. Still, he might not even start day one as they don't really need a safety, but going forward, I believe Xavier Woods is on a 1-year contract with them, or it's a 2-year contract. They can transition into Kyle Hamilton. They don't really need a safety, but why pass on Kyle Hamilton when you can pair him up with Jeremy Chin? You also have Dante Jackson, J.C. Horn, who you recently drafted. C.J. Henderson was a 9th overall draft pick. They're just loaded in the secondary and defense as a whole. Watch out for the Panthers. I don't think they're going to be a contender. I don't even think they're going to win their division. With that being said, watch out for that defense. That is not a defense you want to face. Still, as long as they don't have the quarterback and head coach positions locked down, Matt Rule's a little... Matt Rule's on the hot seat right now. Giants are on the clock with the 7th overall draft pick here. Giants with the 7th draft pick. We're going to actually give them who I believe should be worth this pick. We're going to head on over to cornerbacks. They have one of the best corners in the league in James Bradbury, in my personal opinion. And we're going to actually go ahead and give him Ahmad Gardner, the first corner off the board. Yeah, I know Ahmad Gardner, 7th overall draft pick, is a little high. He's a corner, though, and he has a potential of being a lockdown corner in couple years time. I believe it's going to be a perfect fit for him to go onto that Giants defense. And with their new regime coming in, new head coach, new GM, new everything, go for a new franchise. And you have to start with a corner here because that is a position that you need to have locked down. They already got James Bradbury, just got to get him somebody alongside him. I also talk about how James Bradbury could be traded away. They should also trade away Saquon Barkley, go for a full rebuild on that team. Ahmad Gardner would be a great start for their team. Now, the Falcons are on the clock with the 8th overall draft pick. We could see another quarterback go here. Still, 8th overall, it's still a little high this year for quarterbacks. I just believe Falcons are one of those teams that are in a tanking year, and they're just going to go for a quarterback in the 2023 draft class. Because if you see here, if the Falcons were to take a player like Kenny Pickett, they're still going to be picking top 5 next season, next draft class in 2023, and probably going to need a quarterback again. So why take a quarterback this year when you have a player who I've talked about a lot, and I love this guy, George Karloftis. We're going to have him taken at the 8th overall draft pick. Pass rushers are just so crucial in a pass-heavy league. You need people that can get to the passer. You need people that can apply pressure to the quarterback, especially in a division where you got Tom Brady, all right? You need someone to get to Tom Brady, and Falcons love their pass rushers. They like drafting pass rushers. They do it in the first round just about every year, and that's why I have them taking Karloftis at the 8th pick. So in the top 8, you can see there's already 1, 2, 3, 4 edge rushers taking in the top 8. So I mean, it's an important position. You got to have that position locked down. And now the Seattle Seahawks are on the clock with the 9th overall draft pick. Another team that does need a quarterback here. Do we actually think the Seahawks are going to take a quarterback? Because I don't. Does Pete Carroll really want to go through a full rebuild right now? I mean, I guess that you're hinting at it after they move on from Bobby Wagner and Russell Wilson. Why does a 70-year-old guy want to go through rebuild? By the time the Seahawks are competitors again, the guy's going to be in a nursing home. I mean, the guy is 70 years old. I don't have him taking a quarterback here. I don't think it's going to happen personally. I have them going wide receiver. I have them taking Drake London, big body wide receiver. Do they need a wide receiver right now? Probably not. I'm mostly making the prediction that DK Metcalf is traded away, and Drake London is one of those players you just don't want to miss on. The guy's huge. Drew Lock is going to love throwing to Drake London as that guy's massive, and then you also got Tyler Lockett as a deep threat. Tyler Lockett's probably not happy that Drew Lock's throwing the ball, to be honest, because he can't hit him the same way Russell Wilson does, which in my opinion, Russell Wilson throws the best deep ball in all of football. So it's a little interesting. I don't know how the Seahawks are going to take on this rebuild, because I guess they are in a rebuild. Are they in a rebuild phase where they want to take a quarterback right now? I mean, I don't know. It's so weird. I don't know what the Seahawks are doing. I have no clue. I didn't expect Russell Wilson to be traded at all. I thought the guy was staying with Seattle for a few years at least and likely finishing his career there. That hit me by a surprise. And now the Jets are on the clock. You can see this is a Jets one from Seattle. Who do I think the Jets are going to take with the 10th overall draft pick? Jets probably should just go best player available, which in this case is Derek Stingley Jr. People talk about Derek Stingley not being worth a top 10 pick. Him being drafted at 10 is a perfect spot. I don't know what people are talking about. The guy has upside. He is a corner. He is a potential lockdown corner in the future, and that's exactly what the Jets need right now. They do need wide receivers and to give Zach Wilson a little bit more help. I like the way the Jets have tackled free agency, bringing in a lot of players to the offensive line and adding CJ Ozama and Tyler Conklin as tight ends. That will really help out Zach Wilson. So they do still need a wide receiver, but still Derek Stingley Jr., great player to draft here at this pick, and they can look to wide receiver in one of the later rounds because, in my opinion, Stingley is the best player available. Washington Commanders are on the clock. The first time Commanders have ever been on the clock. I'm torn on what the Commanders are going to do here. We're going to go ahead and give them the best player available. That is Charles Cross, in my personal opinion. Charles Cross will be protecting somewhere on the offensive line for Carson Wentz, who will be playing for him next season. I say Carson Wentz, but I'm expecting Taylor Heineke to actually start more games because Carson Wentz will likely be out of the out of the league halfway through the season by being injured because it's FedEx Field. It's cursed. It's a cursed stadium. We're going to see Taylor Heineke start most of the games, and Charles Cross can be someone who will start somewhere on the offensive line, left tackle, right tackle. Don't care. Just start the guy somewhere on the offensive line. My Minnesota Vikings are on the clock with the 12th overall draft pick. You can see there hasn't been any trades here because I don't think there's people that are really wanting to trade up for these quarterbacks. Yeah, they're technically falling, but you can just look to a quarterback next year, and there's not really. I believe a lot of these teams want to trade down, but you need someone to want to trade up for you to trade down. So a lot of these teams will likely just sit here and draft whoever they can. My Minnesota Vikings are on the clock. No way are we trading down when we have a player who we want right on the board at Trent McDuffie. We are going to take a corner with the 12th overall draft pick if the draft were to happen today, because we haven't really brought in anybody yet, and this would be someone who we would just plug in as a starter, have him start day one. Maybe we have him going up against wide receiver ones. We got Devontae Adams and Allen Robinson out of our division, so I guess it's not as big of a shoes to fill as it was a couple years ago. Still, Trent McDuffie, day one starter, would step up immediately on our defense, and I would love to have him fall to us at 12. Houston Texans would be on the clock with the 13th overall draft pick, and here is where I'm actually going to have a trade. Okay, so this is the first trade right here at the 13th pick. The Houston Texans trading down because they need so many players and they don't need to take someone here. Someone does want this trade up, and that is the Green Bay Packers. I have the Packers giving up the 22nd pick that they got from the Devontae Adams trade, a third rounder, and, hear this, Jordan Love. That sounds like a win-win. The Packers trade up to get one of the best receivers, and the Houston Texans trade down, get a quarterback who can play for Davis Mills' job, because we haven't seen what Jordan Love has really been able to do other than his one game started with Green Bay. And then Green Bay trades up quite a bit. We're going to force this trade, and trade accepted. All right, we fixed it. Packers are on the clock with the 13th pick, and we're going to go ahead. Packers fans are going to like me for this. I don't like this happening, but we're going to give him Garrett Wilson, arguably the best receiver in this draft class, going to the Packers at the 12th pick or 13th pick. Garrett Wilson is a perfect fit. I believe that would be the first wide receiver off the board if I have that correctly. Yes, no, second after Drake London. Second wide receiver off the board, arguably the best in this draft class is Garrett Wilson. The guy's super fast, and Aaron Rodgers throws the second best deep ball behind Russell Wilson, in my opinion, and could definitely hit him on full stride. Garrett Wilson, amazing after the catch. He's just exactly who Green Bay should want to come onto their team to fill in for Devontae Adams. Obviously, you can't be Devontae Adams rookie season. But with that being said, Garrett Wilson going to Green Bay is exactly what they need. And by far the biggest need for them is giving Aaron Rodgers some more targets to throw to. They just lost Devontae Adams and MVS. And now they have what? Randall Cobb? 34-year-old, whatever, Randall Cobb. Yeah, they definitely worth trading up here, giving up Jordan Love, first rounder, 22nd overall draft pick, and also a third rounder. Big for the Texans to also get Jordan Love in that trade to give them a shot here. Now the Ravens are on the clock with the 14th pick. I'm going to go ahead and do it this early in the draft. I'm going to give the Ravens Jordan Davis. Jordan Davis, arguably the best interior defensive lineman in this draft class. Going on to that Ravens defense, we know the Ravens love their pass rushers. They're big guys. They'll likely kick him over to defensive end as they run a base 3-4. We could see him play defensive end, obviously keep Michael Pierce at the nose tackle. Kick him over to defensive end, and hopefully still be amazing against the runs. Ravens are a dark horse Super Bowl candidate this next season. I've talked about it many times about the Ravens. Should be honestly competing for a Super Bowl now. They only weren't able to this last season because of injuries. Now the Eagles are on the clock. They're back-to-back 15 and 16 draft picks. Eagles are on the clock, and we did see the Packers trade up above Ravens and above the Eagles in order to take Garrett Wilson. That's why we had that trade. Eagles on the clock with the 15th pick. We're going to give them... We'll give them Akeem Ekwonu. Why not? I think this is a perfect draft pick for them to take Akeem Ekwonu with the 15th pick. He can step in as their offensive lineman at left tackle. They haven't had a left tackle really recently. That could be a star in their offensive line. This would definitely help them out to kind of rebuild that Eagles offensive line that was once great, and could definitely help out Jalen Hurts in drafting Akeem Ekwonu, who a lot of people argue is the best offensive tackle, and getting him at 15, that is a steal. Now with the 16th pick, they are also on the clock here. We're actually going to give them a cornerback. I know they don't really need a cornerback. Why not add another corner to that defense? Andrew Booth Jr. from Clemson wouldn't need to play day one for them, but could step in eventually partway through the season, maybe if injuries happen, or even start as a slot receiver. We see a lot of offenses running a lot more 11 personnel, and Andrew Booth is one of those players that would be great on the Eagles defense to be able to add. So they don't really need a corner desperately, but again, you don't want to pass on corners. You want to take corners when you can. It is that important of a position to have locked down. Now with this draft pick right here, Chargers with the 17th pick. What do the Chargers take with the 17th pick? We'll give them a wide receiver. They need wide receivers. Why not? And actually, this is perfect. They're going to take Chris Olave with this pick. This is a great draft pick for them. Obviously, Mike Williams and Keenan Allen make one of the best wide receiver duos. You got Chris Olave, who can play as a slot receiver, amazing after the catch, super fast. The guy can get open. He can be a deep threat. We know Justin Herbert has an arm. That guy's got a rocket arm. That man can hit Chris Olave on 60-yard passes. That's a great fit. Perfect fit right there. Saints on the clock with the 18th pick. Saints are going to go ahead and also take a wide receiver. We could see a quarterback taken. Again, Saints do need a quarterback. I'm not a big fan of these quarterbacks. I'm really not. I don't think there's going to be very many quarterbacks. And you can see here, obviously, the Saints is easy. Jameson Williams, there's not even a question of who they would draft other than Jameson Williams with that pick. Now, the Eagles are on the clock with the 19th pick. Who would the Eagles take here? They have a few options. Eagles with this draft pick should take... Do we give them Devontae Wyatt? I mean, they did just take an offensive tackle, so they wouldn't need Trevor Penning here. We'll give them Jermaine Johnson, one of the best pass rushers in this draft class, and not a player you want to pass on. I haven't done very many trades, I'm noticing here, but still, having Jermaine Johnson on that defense would step in day one. Obviously, easy starter on that defensive front. Maybe he wouldn't fall this far to 19, but still, great player to play on the team. Pittsburgh Steelers, if they have an opportunity to draft Tyler Linderbaum with this pick, they will. That is perfect. Okay, Steelers fans, you should honestly trade up for Tyler Linderbaum if you can. That guy is the best center I've ever watched play college football in my entire life. And he could easily be a great blocker for Najee Harris and protect for Mitchell Trubisky if you're actually going to play Mitchell Trubisky at wide receiver, or at quarterback, I mean to say. And could step in day one on that offensive line, and would be a great draft pick for the Steelers to take Tyler Linderbaum. Now we have the Patriots here with the 21st pick. We're going to do another trade because the Patriots love to trade away their draft picks and give them away. We're going to have the Patriots. We're going to have a team trade up for a quarterback here. We're going to have the Falcons trade up for a quarterback here. Falcons and Patriots, not the biggest fans, to be honest. But we'll have the Falcons give up a second rounder. We'll have them give up actually both second rounders they got, and the Patriots 21st overall pick. We know the Patriots love trading down. Why don't the Falcons just trade up and take a quarterback now? This way they don't have to wait. And yeah, I'm going to make some people mad. Not going to have it be Sam Howell. Not going to have it be Matt Corral or Kenny Pickett. We're going to give him Desmond Ridder. Let's be honest. Desmond Ridder is elite. That man has the biggest ceiling out of any quarterback not named Malik Willis here. That guy, he can easily be one of the best quarterbacks in the league. Obviously, there's a higher possibility of his failure when it comes to Desmond Ridder. There's a lot of red flags, but I believe it's smart for the Falcons to make that trade in order to lock down Desmond Ridder. That way they can really go for a rebuild here. It's not smart for them to be like, oh, let's stick with Marcus Mariota. Now Marcus Mariota, obviously he should be given another opportunity. I'm happy that he is with Falcons. But with that being said, they should bring in a quarterback in order to hopefully be their franchise guy going forward. They could wait till next year. Obviously, I don't have them taking a wide receiver here. So George Karloftis being on their defense, they do need wide receivers. They need some more positions, especially offensive line as well. So they have a lot of needs, but it's good to start with a quarterback, and it's good to try to get that quarterback position locked down if you can. And if they do trade up with the New England Patriots 21st overall pick, taking Desmond Ridder is worth it in the first round, in my opinion. Texans now picking at the 22nd pick. We have this from the Green Bay Packers trade. Texans have a lot of options here. We're going to go ahead and give them by far the best linebacker in this draft class. We'll give them Devin Lloyd of Utah. Obviously, the Texans are in a spot where they don't care what position you play. They're just taking whoever is the best player available. And so far in this draft class, the Texans have taken some solid players. I mean, Trayvon Walker, and now taking Devin Lloyd. On top of that, they got Jordan Love from the trade with the Packers in this draft, in this mock draft, and can pick up another draft pick. So great for the Texans to really start on that defense and finally turn that team around, because God, is that a terrible team on both sides of the ball. I didn't even know it was possible to build such an awful team. And it's a good for them in order to get these draft picks to rebuild, because they need it. And it was good trading away Deshaun Watson for their sake, and now they can look to going forward, and they don't have to take a quarterback quite yet, as they can stick with Davis Mills, who had an outstanding rookie season. Cardinals are now on the clock with the 23rd pick. Cardinals, they need offensive line and they need defensive line. Not much to say here. We'll give them Devontae Wyatt. A lot of people argue the best defensive lineman in this, or interior defensive lineman in this draft class. Devontae Wyatt going to the Cardinals will probably not be a day one starter. He'll likely sit behind all three of their defensive linemen. I'm pretty sure they run a 3-4 defense, if I have that right. But with that being said, I mean, JJ Watt's got what? One more year left in him. The guy's got to retire now. He gets injured. He doesn't play more than a third of the season. It sucks to see. JJ Watt is one of the best defensive linemen I've ever watched play football, and his career is coming to an end in Arizona, so they should get someone who can be the next man up for JJ Watt on that defense. So hopefully Devontae Wyatt, he won't be a day one starter, but with that being said, he will probably start more games than JJ Watt next season. Cowboys on the clock with the 24th pick. We're going to give the Cowboys another corner. Not the biggest need for them, but why would you take an interior offensive lineman here when you can do that later in the draft? This is a very deep offensive line class. You can take them round 3, round 4, somewhere around there. We're going to give them Roger McCreary from Auburn. Roger McCreary of Auburn will probably not start right off the bat with the Cowboys. They don't really need a corner right now with Anthony Brown and Trayvon Diggs. They don't need someone to play right off the bat, but still, it's a corner. I talk about this all the time. Having a corner is so important, and you just continue to swing on corners until you hit, because it is that important of a position. Corner, quarterback, wide receiver, pass rushers. You just got to continue to swing until you hit, because you can't settle for average in those positions. It's not like safety where you can have average safeties. It's not like linebackers or offensive line where they can just be average. You need lockdown guys. You need star franchise quarterbacks and elite wide receivers. Those are positions that you just got to continue to swing on, and that's what they should do. Again, Trevon Diggs, maybe the most overrated corner in football. You can get someone to play for his job. Bills now on the clock with a 25th pick. Bills are sitting here ready to take really whoever they can. I mean, if I were the Bills right here, Trevor Penning is great. I believe him coming from Northern Iowa is a surprise as well. We're going to give them... Do they want to take Treylon Burks this early? I mean, they don't really need an offensive lineman, but... We'll give him Treylon Burks. Why not? Like, he'll probably start with them day one. If they're running 3 wide receivers, they don't have Cole Beasley anymore. Stephon Diggs can continue to be their deep threat. Gabriel Davis came together by the end of this last season. Treylon Burks can step in there as well. Why not swing on another wide receiver? It's the Bills. It's their offense. They're going to make them work. Treylon Burks might not be worth the 25th pick, in my opinion, but still... He can step in on that offense. He can be one of those stars in the offense. Titans are on the clock here, and Titans need offensive line. We're actually going to give them Trevor Penning of Northern Iowa. Congrats to Trevor Penning coming out of Uni. I mean, what offensive lineman's drafted by Uni in the first round? Congratulations. This man is like 6'7", 340 pounds. I don't think I have it here, but the guy is huge, and him playing onto that offensive line, yeah, 6'7", 321 pounds. He had a 99.9 PFF run blocking grade. Who's the best runner in the league? Derrick Henry, 99.9 run blocking grade. That is amazing. And as a matter of fact, if I was the Titans, I would trade up for Trevor Penning if you could. This man is worth a first round draft pick, and especially worth the 26th. That is a steal. He's probably not going to play left tackle for them day one. Because of Taylor Lewan, one of the best left tackles in the league. Penning can play right tackle, left guard, right guard. Shoot, throw him at center. Who cares? The guy should just start on your offensive line and protect for Ryan Tannehill and block for Derrick Henry. Great draft pick, Trevor Penning. Titans, you should trade up if you can for the guy. Now the Buccaneers will be on the clock with the 27th pick, and here I'm going to do it. I know some of you guys are going to hate me. I know they just took Kyle Trask. I know Tom Brady's coming back. We're going to give him a quarterback here because why not? I mean, we're going to give him Sam Howell. I believe Sam Howell is the third best quarterback in this draft class. We're going to give him Sam Howell at this 27th pick from UNC. And there's a lot to talk about here. Tom Brady obviously hinting at his retirement, wanting to retire and coming back. I know they just drafted Kyle Trask last year in the 3rd round. Might as well just continue to swing on quarterbacks. Like I said, you just got to continue to swing until you hit when it comes to quarterbacks. Might not be the biggest need for them as they have the best quarterback of all time. The guy's 44. The guy's going on to 45. I mean, you got to look to a new quarterback here. And Sam Howell falling to them right here is a perfect spot for them to take a quarterback because we know next year they're not going to be in a good position to draft a quarterback and probably won't be able to get a player like Sam Howell. So they'll likely just sit at 27, kind of wait, and then if a quarterback falls, they'll take him at 27. This is my personal opinion. I think they should. Green Bay Packers picking at the 28th pick. This is their original pick after being knocked out right in the first round of the in their first game of the draft, not the first round, divisional round. Oh, that felt good. Okay, so I know they just drafted Chris Olave earlier, or not Chris Olave, Garrett Wilson, arguably the best wide receiver in this draft class. They drafted him earlier, and that's going to be Aaron Rodgers' #1 target this next season. Yeah, they don't just need one wide receiver. They need like 5. They need so many wide receivers. They lost not only Devontae Adams, MVS, St. Brown, Amikwius St. Brown, who Amon-Ra's brother, all right, the guy who played a lot of snaps with their teams last season. But on top of that, I mean, they just need wide receivers all around the board. So for that reason, we're going to give him another wide receiver. Why not? Let's give him George Pickens. This guy is a big body wide receiver who would be a perfect fit with, oh my gosh, Packers fans. I hate to give you guys such good draft packs, but you having George Pickens as a big body receiver paired up with Garrett Wilson, who should get like 10 targets a game on that offense next season, I mean, that is a great wide receiver duo. Now, I know them as rookies might not make as immediate as an impact as some other positions would have, like A.J. Dillon did for the Packers a few years ago. They might not make as immediate. They really don't have to focus on defense here. I believe the Packers have one of the best defenses when healthy. Even losing Zadarius Smith and Kevin King as starters, they still have one of the best defenses. And with that being said, just need to add wide receivers and offensive line here. That's really all they need to add in this draft in order to run it back. And I hate to admit it, but it's so true. They need receivers. They need offensive line. They need to give Aaron Rodgers some more help offensively, and then they are still a Super Bowl contending team. And I hate to admit that, but I'll say it. Now the Chiefs are on the clock with the 29th pick here, and this is the 29th pick. This is from the Tyreek Hill trade. We're going to actually go ahead and give the Chiefs a cornerback. I mean, why not? The Chiefs are one of the worst secondaries in all of football. We'll give them, they have some options here. We'll give them Elam from Florida. It's kind of just a whatever at this point. Corners, like I said, you just continue to swing on corners until you hit. I know a lot of people will talk about some other corners get a lot of attention here who just aren't the right size. So one corner to mention who gets Tyreek Woolen. A lot of people have Tyreek Woolen taken in the first round, and I can see why. The guy lit up the combine. The guy's amazing. But also with that, I wouldn't take him over Elam in the first round, and I wouldn't even take him in the first round in general. So I would have Elam taken by the Chiefs, a corner that you can swing on, a corner that you can hopefully hit on for the Chiefs' sakes, because wow, is that secondary awful. That was one of the worst secondaries this last season, and the only reason why they didn't win a Super Bowl was because of that secondary. Their offensive line was great. Their playmakers were amazing. Patrick Mahomes is Patrick Mahomes, and their pass rushing duo with Frank Clark and Chris Jones was great. And now the Chiefs are on the clock again with the 30th pick. This is their original draft pick after losing in the AFC Championship. Thank you, Cincinnati Bengals. Chiefs are on the clock with the 30th pick here, and yeah, they have a lot of options. They can use Raymond from Central Michigan. They can plug him in on the offensive line. Kobe Dean. I don't know if you want to take a linebacker of his talent right here. Ojabo, injury concerns. You can take Petre. You go 2 corners, why not? Zion Johnson, obviously guard, could step in. Sky Moore would be one of the best deep threats on their team. Boye Mafe, love the guy. Boye Mafe would be a good fit for them, actually. You can play him as a linebacker if you wanted to. We're going to actually make a trade here. We're going to do a trade with the... Who should we make a trade with? We're actually going to do the Seattle Seahawks here. We're going to have the Seahawks give up They'll give up a couple draft picks, second and third rounders, and they'll take that 30th. The reason why I have this happening right here, Seahawks giving up 2 draft picks, we're going to actually have the Seahawks trade up for a quarterback. We don't expect there to be, who would they take? Do we take Matt Corral or Kenny Pickett? We'll give him Kenny Pickett. Kenny Pickett has the best tape out of any quarterback in this draft class. He does. He has the best tape in college. And there's just so many concerns when it comes to Kenny Pickett that I just don't know if this guy is worth a first-round draft pick. We have the Seahawks trading up simply because I do think they do need a quarterback. It's just so weird to see the Seahawks going through a rebuild because I didn't expect that to happen at all. Taking a quarterback, though, even though he's not going to start, Kenny Pickett won't start for them in his rookie season. He'll play behind Drew Lock. With the Seattle Seahawks, still, they're a young offense and might as well take a shot on a quarterback. Give Kenny Pickett a chance. This will probably be the best spot that Kenny Pickett would want to go to, would be the Seahawks offense run by Pete Carroll. Again, I just don't know if they want to go through a rebuild, a full-on rebuild quite yet. But still, taking a draft, trading up to get Kenny Pickett, fine. You can also hopefully get Matt Corral in the second round. Do you want Matt Corral, though? I mean, Kenny Pickett is the higher ceiling than, it's tough to say. These quarterbacks are so hard to predict. There's going to be a gem in the mix, and Seahawks fans, take a shot on Kenny Pickett. Take a shot on him. Bengals are on the clock here, and Bengals, Bengals are lucky. They're going to get Raymond here from Central Michigan. Another small school. Shout out to the small schools, Central Michigan and Northern Iowa. You got some small schools here. We have Raymond going to the Bengals and starting somewhere on that offensive line. Probably not at left tackle from Jonah Williams. They'll probably move him at left guard, right tackle, somewhere on there. But Bengals desperately do need help on the offensive line, as that's the reason why they didn't win a Super Bowl. They nearly lost to the Titans. They could have destroyed them if it wasn't for the offensive line. And they lost to the Rams in the Super Bowl simply because their offensive line is garbage. And it just shows how great of a quarterback Joe Burrow was to play with such an amazing, or behind such an awful offensive line. And he had great playmakers as well. You got to give him credit there. We have the Lions on the clock here, and gotta sneak him into the first round. I gotta put him in the first round. Boye Mafe going to the Lions at the 32nd pick. We don't have David Ajobo going here because of his injury concerns. Yeah, he can go. I mean, I watched the guy play in college. The man's unstoppable, and he could play anywhere on that defensive front or at the linebackers. Don't know if he's really worth a first-round pick at this point in time. But we got Boye Mafe from Minnesota going to the 32nd pick to Detroit, where careers go to die. So that's going to be my first round of the NFL mock draft. We have a lot of quarterbacks actually taken in the first round, despite this being a weak quarterback class. I think we do have 4 taken in the first round. We have some trades, not a whole lot of trades. There'll likely be more than this. You just really never know what teams are looking for. You really never know what players teams are going to be targeting. For that reason, we only have about 4 trades going on here, but the biggest one being Jordan Love going to Houston. So just let me know what you all think. I like my Minnesota Vikings taking Trent McDuffie, so I do like this. Some of you guys might not agree here. Should the Packers go with 2 wide receivers? I believe so. Should the Eagles take another wide receiver? I don't think I have them. No, I don't have them taking a wide receiver in this mock draft, but there's a lot of questions here. You really don't know. And for that reason, I make my predictions, and I'd like to hear all of you guys' prediction. So just let me know in the comments what you guys think about this mock draft, what you guys would change, and what you guys think your team should be going for. So thank you all for tuning into this show. If you did enjoy, be sure to rate and subscribe to the show. Follow for more. We're live every Monday and Thursday morning. And